Now to immigration reform, with the Obama administration coming under fire from both sides of the aisle after delaying a long-awaited review of its deportation policies. Well, this amid revelations that ICE released some 36,000 immigrants with criminal records, including violent crimes like murder and rape. DHS Secretary Jeh Johnson taking heat today as well on Capitol Hill.
Isn't it true that ICE attorneys decide whether to offer bond and set the amount of the bond? So isn't it also true that the DHS could have detained most of these criminal aliens but simply chose not to?
I look at the same list you've seen, and I've seen some pretty serious criminal convictions on that list, including homicide and other things. And so I want a deeper understanding of this issue myself to make sure that we're doing everything we should be doing.
Here to weigh in, Fox News contributor Tony Sayegh and former Bill Clinton pollster and Democratic strategist Bernard Whitman. All right, guys, a lot of heat going on Capitol Hill, from the VA situation now to immigration. With that many people potentially released, Bernard, who have convictions like murder and rape, is that okay, what he just said? He's in charge of the department. He's going to continue to look into it. Is that okay?
Well, I mean, here's my position on deportations. I think that anybody convicted of a violent crime like murder, sexual assault, rape, and the like absolutely should be deported immediately, as quickly as the system allows. I think that the real challenge is the great many people who have been convicted of misdemeanor offenses. I think those people should not be deported. And I think actually it would be appropriate to get this review completed so we can deal with the problem and make sure that people who need to be out of the country are, but not unnecessarily break apart families for minor offenses.
I think it's mind-numbing for people to somehow try to understand how we could not deport people who've been convicted of murder or rape, Tony.
And his answer is really what outrages people even more. You heard from Bob Goodlatte, the chairman of the House Committee, Judiciary Committee. He said he wants to establish a deeper understanding. I think Bernard just established how reasonable it is to have a standing position that's enforced by our federal government that if you are a felon of a violent crime or any felony in this country and you're here illegally, you should be deported.
Yeah.
And that's the systematic problem with our immigration policy, Gretchen, that we still have not gotten to the bottom of.
What about the politics of immigration? Because now President Obama says that he's going to delay any kind of a review until right before the midterms. Is that a political play, Bernard?
Well, I just got to respond to Tony. The bigger systematic problem with immigration is the fact that the Speaker won't allow a bill that would pass the House to come to the floor for a vote because he's afraid of the Tea Party caucus. That's the real crime here.
Well, that is true that the House did not take up that Senate bill. That is true. 3/4 of the American people want a comprehensive immigration bill passed. Why can't we get it up for a vote? But is it true now that the President is delaying this review?
And I think that's a mistake as well.
Why?
Because he is delaying the review to try to allegedly put more pressure on the Republicans. Boehner's already said ain't going to happen. So we ought to push this review.
Well, isn't this a problem for the Republicans, Tony? Isn't immigration a problem for the Republicans? Because now that the president's delaying this, the ball's going to go back in the court of the Republicans, and they're going to look bad potentially if they don't do something.
Well, look, if this was a presidential election year, I would say the politics is going to be bad potentially for Republicans. In a midterm election year, this is all about base animation, and the Republican base does not want to have a flawed policy, a policy of essential amnesty, go through the Congress with the support of their members. And that's why you're seeing people like John Boehner and Eric Cantor, who do support some level of comprehensive immigration reform, saying the president wants it to go too far, which is why I think what the president really is doing, Gretchen, is extorting the Congress and only delaying executive action, which, by the way, could be unconstitutional for 2 months.
You got to wonder when the New York Times editorial board is saying that there is something ridiculous about the president's fear of halting a legislative process that has been motionless for nearly a year. And they also attacked him on foreign policy. Got to wrap it there, guys. Have a fantastic rest of the week.
Thank you.